Hey guys, just I'm live on Facebook. So I'm gonna hope Facebook doesn't let me down, and yeah, not bad. Let's say my team, or one of my favourite teams, let me down today anyway. But yeah, it's been a long day. I think I am tired, partly because I didn't get much sleep. I got 5 or 6 hours sleep. But I think I'm tired after that game, and also because of the weather. It gets really dark really quickly. So I walked to the pub to watch the game, but which is probably about a 4 or 5 mile walk or something. Let's say 4 mile walk. But because the kickoff was quite late. Well, not late, but it was relatively late. By the end of the game, I decided to get the bus back from my local city centre. But anyway, yeah, sadly, very disappointed. We lost. We being Celtic, obviously, and I'm a bit peed off, basically. So a trigger warning. This is probably going to include at least a little bit of ring or a fair bit of swearing. So if you don't like swearing, I'm sorry, this is probably not the video for you. I hope you will check out my other videos, but this is probably not going to be the one for you. So I did try and put a trigger warning, but I know I put quite a bit in the title and the description. But yeah. So having said that warning, I'm a bit pissed off, to be honest. But it took me a while to get around to this video. But it's kudos to our opposition, kudos to St. Mirren. By the way, I'm focusing on the YouTube screen, so if anyone messages or posts on the comments on Facebook, I won't be able to reply till after the video. I'd love to do a split screen, but I think I'll just leave it as it is now, because if I try and do a split screen, this new thing they got, split screen, then it might. It seems I don't want to jinx my channel, so because I don't want them to think I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to on my channel. So just in case, I'm not going to do that, but I'll probably try and have to learn about this technical stuff and all that, because this thing says a new option to do a split screen. I thought, oh, that sounds really cool. I can see both screens at the same time. But anyway, so I'm on the YouTube screen, so probably better if I focus on one thing at a time. But anyway, these are pointers number 11 to 20 as per usual. A sort of sad and disappointed match review. So here goes. So lost my train of thought. Oh god. So here goes. So number 11. I'm not going to sing "Beautiful Sunday." It was a beautiful Sunday to St. Mirren, and kudos to him. I don't know much about St. Mirren, I've got to say. I was thinking it took me ages to get around to having the energy to make this video. I was feeling really tired, and I went for my shower and that kind of thing. I didn't even have my granddad nap today because the kickoff was quite late and all that kind of thing. I normally have my granddad nap around 5 o'clock. I was thinking of doing it, but I thought otherwise I'll be up all night, which I normally am anyway, but even worse than usual perhaps. But kudos to St. Mirren, as I say. And to be honest, I think they were the better team, but I'm worried for the future. I worry if this manager is the right guy. I really want him to do well. I really want him to do well. I really want him as his Celtic manager, and also he represents black managers, minority managers, that kind of thing. And I really want it. Well, just because he's a Celtic manager as well, I really love him to achieve a lot and show what it's worth. But 3 games we've lost at 3 defeats, and in each of them we've had performances I don't think have been that good. From what I've heard, I didn't watch the other 2 games. Didn't watch one against Hearts. I didn't watch the one against Roma. Actually, Roma is my favourite team, so I actually wanted them to win 4-0. So, but this one was the main one for me. In fact, Hearts was as well, but this one was a real main one so far. And I mean, the jury was out before, but I really want him to turn it around. But I think if he doesn't get a win soon, I think he should be out the door quickly. We should cut our losses. It's got too much of a risk for the league. We've already messed up on this cup. I hope it works out. I hope he can get a win finally. Our next game's on Wednesday, Dundee or something, or Aberdeen. I think it's Dundee. But yeah, I really want it. I know people want to say colour and race shouldn't matter, but or whatever, race or ethnicity, or whatever the difference is, or whatever. But yeah, I really do want it to work because he's a Celtic man, and I always want Celtic managers to work out whoever they are. And it would be great if he was Ange 2.0, but I know he's just got in the door, but yeah, some people might be relieved to say that I'm not going to sing It's a Beautiful Sunday, but it is a beautiful Sunday for St Mirren fans, St Mirren supporters. But the thing is, we should be able to easily beat St Mirren. Kudos to them for getting to the final, and we did beat the Rankers, which is the only good thing about it is that at least they didn't win another trophy. But yeah, I'm really disappointed. I know it's a first world problem, but I'm disappointed. But yeah, I've got a lot of fears for the future. Certainly, I would have loved to have won this game. I wonder. I mean, for St Mirren, it's probably a very good thing for their. Well, it's a good thing for their club to win trophies, but I mean, the money could help them quite a lot. At their end of the league, they could probably buy a player or two with that money. But I'd love for the winner of some competitions this year and maybe next year to donate to Japan, which I talked about because they went through an earthquake and potentially tsunamis. I haven't really, or a tsunami at least, which I haven't really watched properly. I haven't followed the news that much. I'm hoping they avoid the worst of it as much as possible, but it's not looking too good in Japan. Like they had a terrible earthquake and a potential tsunami, and says like thousands could be dead. And it would have been good for Daiser Maeda and players like that to have got a hat trick or at least a couple of goals. But number 12. So on the game itself, sort of a review. I'm trying to get the words right. A review of the game. I think some of the worries is like say that Bro Wolford or Brother Wolford as I call him, or whatever, or Bro Wolford or whatever, is playing players out of position. But I just couldn't see us scoring. Like I felt we could played all night, and we didn't really create enough chances. It almost felt like we could have played all night and not scored. So it's like almost the banter years or banter. Well, potentially a bit of banter years have returned back to us, but hopefully not for too long. But it is worrying, but he's got to turn it around soon because otherwise, I think you have to be out the door. You don't get that type of time at the club at Celtic to turn it around. But I think the only sort of saving grace, if you like, and I suppose a bit of a different perspective is, I mean, we did get to final. We beat the Rankers on the way. At least the Rankers did win a trophy, or they haven't won a trophy yet. Hopefully they won't. I don't want to jinx it, but hopefully they won't. And we had a good run when we beat them in the semis and stop them from potentially winning this trophy, obviously. And I guess I had a good walk today, and trying to think of any positives I can think of. I'll say at least the Rankers didn't win. And they're not doing too well in the league, but that's our only saving grace. Otherwise, this season would have really put a lot of pressure on the ball. It is already a lot of pressure, but it would have been even more if they were doing well. Thankfully, it's not worked out just yet for them with their new owners. But on the subject of owners, though, I'm trying to think of the game itself, but also think about the future as well, and Celtic more generally. I probably asked this question before, but a lot of the, and I'm hoping to do videos where I ask questions of Celtic sports, but a lot of Celtic sports says they want the board out, but then I think the big question is who do we replace them with? And the supporters, I mentioned in part one, I'll probably mention it before that as well, but they say they don't want wealthy owners like the Sovereign Wealth Funds, or what, just people with a lot of money. Generally, I was going to say a lot of pockets, a lot of money in their pocket, in their bank account, and that kind of thing. Sovereign wealth funds, hedge funds, private equity funds, and things like that, venture capitalists or whatever, maybe even. But basically, they don't want wealthy, rich owners to buy the club, and they say it's not what the club stands for as a charity and this sort of thing. But then, as I said, as I asked in part one, it'd be great to have. I'd love to do one-to-one interviews, street interviews, and Zoom chats with Celtic sports. But I'd also love to do videos where I ask Celtic sports questions. And I'd love to do opinion polls as well, asking as many Celtic sports as possible. Like, what sort of things do you want? Because if we don't get wealthy investors, well, investors with big pockets, big bank accounts, or whatever, and that kind of thing, how do we get the money to invest to compete in Europe? Even if, like say, supporters wanted to do that but don't have the money to do so, even with all the best will in the world and best intentions, without the funds to do so, how can we do it? I'd love for a consortium consisting of like supporters, especially celebrity supporters with money, people like Rod Stewart, Snoop Dogg, Billy Connolly, and many other Celtic supporters. Excuse me. To get to sort of come together to have a consortium to buy out the club and invest in it, but I think there's got to be a plan. I think, I mean, I'd love to ask Celtic supporters a question, but I'm probably going to ask that a bit later. But I'm going to move on to number 13. So yeah, I guess I'm really disappointed and pissed off about. I said I would swear, but I did say that to be fair, but to myself. But I did give a trigger warning. But I'm really pissed off about. I'm really pissed off about how I know I normally don't like to swear in my videos, but about how we've blown this chance to win this cup. Again, some would say it's a first world problem, and I really wanted us to win to give the confidence for the future, but also to give prize money to good causes. I mean, obviously you can't get back in time, unfortunately, and it's one of those things. But I think more than that, in a way, I don't know how far into the future you can look, but I think my fear is if this guy is just not the right guy and the manager, and if so, will the club act quickly enough? I really want it. As I do want it to work out, but I fear that let's say he's not the right guy, and then we lose, and then we lose more games, right? And then we lose the league, or whatever, or we get out of the next cup, hoping and praying that things turn around, but it just doesn't work out. And then it's going to take a while to get a new manager in, and then the funds and all that kind of thing. Hopefully that will push the club to invest more, but yeah, I mean, going trophyless this season looks like it's a potential. I know he's only just got in the door, but 3 games and not even getting a draw out of any of those games is a pretty poor show. I know this one couldn't be a draw because it would take time and all that, but even just to put up a fight, and I'm just trying to think of the game as well. I thought we had some good bits of play where we went forward a little bit. We were slow going forward. I think we were passing it quite slowly, and we don't have the ability to pass like teams like Barcelona. We don't have the patience. Whereas Brits are not as patient, including the way we play football, as like Spanish people probably. And we just didn't look like we had that cutting edge. We didn't look like we had that killer edge going forward, like to try and get the ball into the box or whatever. And I was hoping there'd be some sort of fight back because of the bad couple of results we've had, and trying to compete and get back into the season. But so yeah, it is a worry for the future, and like whether we're going to keep losing games, and then we'd have to spend more money to get a new manager in or whatever. So I think if he doesn't get a win in his next couple of games, or even the next game, I think, or at least something where the supporters can say, yeah, we know what you're trying to do here, and we see it's something that's really good. Or I was going to say point number 11 actually, because I think of change, or because point number 12, I guess, is like I wonder if he's too stubborn to change his tactics up. I wonder if he's just going to keep playing that way, even if it's not working. And then you can do that in maybe the MLS or other leagues, but with Celtic, it's like Scottish teams, especially Celtic, and them, they shouldn't be mentioned. They shouldn't be named. Those who mustn't be named. I call them rankers or whatever. But anyway, since I'm swearing anyway, I might as well say rankers. Anyway, I'm sure I thought so. But yeah, you're expected to win really quickly, so he doesn't have time to say, "Oh, performance is the thing that matters," or whatever. It's you've got to win by a certain amount of time, and it's the manner in which we're losing as well, and like playing players out of position or whatever. A lot of people saying he's a fraud, so I think he's got to show what he can do. I'd love it if he. I'm going to say it's in point of 14, jinx it in point of 13, but I'd love it if he looked back at old videos of. Like I said, point of 14, I'd say, just to clarify. But I'd love it if he looked back at old videos of Brendan Rodgers, and at times when he was doing well, and certainly Andrew Postecoglou and Martin O'Neill even, and look at what they did well and say, oh yeah, well, let's try different things and see what we can do. But play players in their position, that's the easy thing he could do to make it better. Because apparently he's playing players out of position. Probably I wasn't the most observant, but apparently that's what he's doing, and I probably should have noticed today in the game I went to see, as I went to see the game, I mean. But there's players like Tunekti, I hope I pronounced his name, for the Tunisian international player, and I think he's very good at running forward a lot of time, but he just tries to do too many skills and tricks rather than just sometimes square the ball more quickly or have a shot. Sometimes I think players should just try and have a shot. Like Callum McGregor, I was hoping he would come up with one of his wonder goals. And to be fair, I thought Callum McGregor was really good at winning the ball back and going forward and all that. But there were so many players who seemed to be ducking out tackles. I thought St Mirren, to be fair, I mean, they mocked us for beating us, but I suppose a lot of teams don't like people say, fuck the old firm, as they call it, like Celtic and Rangers, as they call us, like the old firm and all that kind of thing. But obviously, at their level, they're going to be happy to beat a team like us. But I don't know what their supporters are normally like, but I can understand why they would have a bit of banter with us or whatever. But I saw one Celtic YouTuber saying that he likes St Mirren, but he obviously would want to beat them. But he said they're a good club. But so I'm not sure what they're like. I don't know a huge amount about them. The only club I really know about in Scotland is Celtic, really. I know Hibs have an Irish connection, just like Celtic, but and my mate's a Ross County fan, and he Ross County Sport, and he says the same thing about he doesn't like Celtic and Rangers. As he says, he was doing a challenge not to shout or whatever, but he said he couldn't do that in the Celtic and Rangers game because he says I always have a shout in those games. But I tried to talk some sense into him, but I couldn't convince him to be a Celtic supporter. But on a serious note, lost my train of thought, so I was going all over the place. But yeah, having end product and like just having a shot or whatever. Yeah, I thought we made St Mirren look like prime Barcelona or prime Brazil or whatever. Sometimes at some points in the game, like they could have scored even a few more. So it's very disappointing and worrying. And I think if he doesn't book up his ideas, he's probably got to go. But I'd love to know from Celtic Sports, what do you think? I'd love to know different views. Number 15. So yeah, where do we go into the future? What sort of goals would you like to see for the club? It's really disappointing. Obviously, we lost the cup final before Christmas, but I guess I was thinking it'd be a good Christmas present. But then I guess it's a good Christmas present for St Mirren. But someone's got to lose, obviously. But and football can be very cruel. At the end of the day, there's only one winner normally, not always really, but in leagues or tourneys, tournaments, cups or whatever. But yeah, disappointing. But as I say, worrying for the future. How long would you give Brother Walford? I'd love to know from Celtic Sports. Like, I'd love to have an opinion poll or saying and see how long Celtic Sports would give him. I think some wanted him gone after Roma. I think some probably wanted him gone before he even got here. Some wanted him gone after Hearts. I was hoping we'd break Hearts. Hopefully we'll in the end, but who knows? But yeah, trying to think of talking points in the game. I mean, there was a time at the end where there was a good move, there was a good bit of play, and I can't remember who it was. Had a really good shot. I'm not sure if it was on Engels or something like that. And he finally took a shot, and the goalkeeper made a really good save. To be fair play to him. But I thought there wasn't enough of that. There wasn't enough players just taking a shot, testing the keeper. He didn't really have to make, which is really worrying as well. Like he made probably one or two good saves, and other than that, I think we didn't create much. Like under Martin O'Neill, we scored from a corner We scored from a cross, and we scored from a wonder goal against the Rankers. But yeah, I just worry whether this guy is going to be the right guy. I hope he turns it around, but I don't know how long you can give someone before they prove themselves or whatever to move on. But yeah, I really want it to work out because he's got quite good reviews, but then he's not managed in Europe, and especially not for a team like Celtic. So it is worrying, I think. Number 16, I'm thinking of different scenarios as well. Like, I think, what if the Rankers get their act together and win a trophy as like the other cup? I can't remember what it is, but Elite Premier League Cup or Premier Elite Cup or something, or whatever it's called. Or if they win the league itself, the Scottish Premiership, heaven forbid, if they get their act together, they're not too far behind us. And if we're not playing well, they could easily catch us up. So yeah, those are some of the worries and worst case scenarios. I mean, Hearts winning would not be as bad, obviously anyone but the Rankers, but it would still be another team, and it would still set us back a bit. But yes, it's a bit worrying times, especially looking to the future. And actually, this guy's good enough, and then even if it's not, do we get a new manager? Well, obviously we'd have to get a new manager, but how quick are they going to be able to come in and turn things around? So yeah, it's a disappointing result today, but I am worried, probably even more so for the future, because if we got our act together and still won the league and won the other cup that's available to us, then it would be a good season. Not as good as I wanted it to be with a treble and further success, but it would match what we did last season. But as I said in part one, it would be interesting if we did the opposite to what we did last season, like winning the league and the other cup and then losing one cup. But I'd rather us win all three. Number 17. So yeah, a lot of negative imaginations and I was going to say storylines. A lot of negative imaginations and scenarios are going through my head, and fears about what could go wrong and all that kind of thing, heaven forbid. But yeah, worst case scenario, as I say, is Rankers start winning trophies again, especially if they get good investment from their new owners. I hope they won't. I hope their new owners will pour even more debt onto them and they'll go bust again. That would be pretty cool, or something like that happening. A bit harsh, but I suppose war is another war. And I can't blame the Rankers supporters or others taking the mick out of us for having a bad spell. But yeah, I hope we can turn it around, but it's worrying times at the moment, at least. And I suppose the main thing is thinking. I suppose you can only deal with what you can deal with, and I try and focus on what I can deal with if I can. And I don't like to be too complacent, but yeah, I suppose trying to think about what can the club do now, what are the next actions, what I'd love to know again from Celtic Sports, what actions would you take when you get rid of the manager and bring someone new in? Who would you like to see in? Who's someone who could unify the supporters? Some people say Martin O'Neill should have stayed for the final at least, or even till New Year or whatever, or we should have got a different manager, or some wanted him to stay. But then some say he's quite an old guy and he needs a break, and he didn't want it for that long, and he just came to steady the ship or whatever. But it seems to be rocking again, to be fair, in a negative way, I guess. We'd get motion sickness, I guess. But number 18. So yeah, I'm trying to be positive. And look to the future, but obviously we've got to react. I hope the board react to today's defeat by saying we're going to spend more and show to the supporters what they're going to do and that kind of thing. Number 19, I wonder if a consortium, as consisting of hedge funds, private equity funds, sovereign wealth funds, bankers, maybe even and businesses generally, if they invest in the club and said within the next 5 to 10 years, this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring in the best possible managers and coaches, coaching staff and director of football, dietitians, and all these good things, and bring in great players. I wonder if the supporters will be happy with that. I mean, it would be hard to actually, and maybe even irresponsible to say we guarantee that we're going to give success to your club. But yeah, if they say we're going to spend this much money, or we're going to we're going to discuss with FIFA and see how much we can spend, FIFA and UEFA, and see, like, make sure we don't fall foul of FFP rules, but we're going to spend as much as we're able to spend within the rules of the game, and without falling foul of those rules, because obviously you don't want points, you don't want to get penalised for it, whether that's points deductions or financial penalties or whatever it might be that clubs face if they fall foul of these rules. So discussing with FIFA and UEFA, like saying, we have this much to invest, we want to make our supporters happy, please can we invest this much? And then hopefully FIFA or UEFA will say, okay, fair enough. As, like, maybe I talk about, like, promoting the image of the beautiful game and that kind of thing, taking football around the world, having supporters clubs and academies all over the world, for instance, or things like that, promoting football, getting more people into football. If Celtic does that kind of thing and all that jazz, could they be enabled to have more funding, even from FIFA and UEFA itself, or even and trigger FIFA to allow more funding and sort of say, these are the rules that so yeah, Celtic to ask FIFA, like, what are the rules, or how much can we invest, what would enable us to invest more, or whatever, so that they make sure they don't fall foul of those rules. And number 20, I hope we'll have a mix of younger and older players. But one thing I was thinking, like, for friendlies and for European games as well, for friendlies and European games, I would love to see us play, as I talked before, about, like, younger players and fringe players, play the youth and all that kind of thing. And I suppose if a player who's not putting effort in could see, like, a young player could take my place if I don't put effort in and buck up my ideas, or a fringe player that doesn't get much of a game can show what he's worth. Say what he or she is worth, what he's worth by performing well in Europe or whatever, on friendlies and that kind of thing. So it'd be good to give those players more of a chance to prove themselves. So, and then if they play well, then it's competition for places. Like, everyone's got to put in 100%. I was thinking, I wish they had a game of their lives and all that kind of thing, but obviously it wasn't to be. But yeah, they've got to bounce back. I think the manager and record players have got to show what they're worth and make it count. And Wednesday or whenever we play next. I don't know, maybe if he doesn't win this one, I think 4 in a row is probably just too much. I think we just got to say, I'm afraid it didn't work out. I really hope it does work out, but he's on thin ice. On that note, out. Peace and love.